All right, welcome Rotarians and guests of the Rotary Club of York, where our mission is to improve life in the city of York by connecting our club's diverse community leaders through fellowship, action, and service. I'm your president, Courtney Piccolo, and as you know, we start off all of our meetings by reciting the four-way test. If you would please join me. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Today, before we sing, we will have past President Glenn Miller, who is the Vice President for Advancement here at York College, say a few words about hosting us at their beautiful facility today. Then we will move to our opening song, God Bless America, and the pledge will be led by Cal Weary, followed by the invocation with Steve Feldman, and visitor introductions by Janice Meade.
Thank you, President Courtney. Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians, and welcome to York College. I hope you enjoyed lunch. This is exactly how our students eat every day. On behalf of Dr. Thomas Burns and the Board of Trustees and the faculty and the staff, and most importantly, our students, it is my delight to welcome you all here today. Once again, welcome you back to the York View Room. We're happy to provide a home during our brief exile from the Country Club of York. York View is more than just the name of a great space on our campus. The view of York College has been of our beloved city and community, both literally and figuratively, for 238 years of our life. In that respect, we are longtime partners with the Rotary Club of York. And like Rotary, our motto, which is to live is to serve, is not so different from Rotary's guiding principle of service above self. That view of York, and at least one of the ways it's being lived out today, will be the topic of today's presentation by my friend and colleague, Steve Jacob, but more on that later. So again, welcome. We are glad that you are here today, and gladder still for our friendship, partnership, and shared commitment to York. Thank you. Rotarians, please join me. God bless America, land of love, stand beside her, through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the ocean wide before. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Now pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Since God Bless America is really written as a prayer, let's pray again. Lord of all knowledge, we come before you today grateful to once again convene as a Rotary Club dedicated to service to others and with particular focus on our city of York. And we are happy to be here on the campus of another institution that has deep care and concern for our city as well. We are not only grateful for the hospitality of York College, we are also cognizant of their commitment to play a pivotal role in the well-being of York City and York County residents. May your all-encompassing compassion guide their work and ours. Thank you for this meal and for those who have prepared and served it. Bless and guide our club's leadership so that we may all be instruments of truthfulness, mutual benefit, and more tightly knit community here and abroad. Help us to seek goodwill and better friendship with each person we meet. And may we always place service above self. Amen. Amen.
I am pleased to have the honor of introducing our guests for today's meeting. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing until President Courtney has welcomed you. Jody Bloss, guest of Mike Anstein. Reverend J.P. Bohannon, guest of past President Louis Elker. Scarlett Barshinger, guest of Youth Exchange. Maru Ikabev, guest of Youth Exchange. Derica Scales, guest of Amanda Harden. Handon Holbert, guest of Bill Hartman. Steve Whiteley, guest of past President David Neckley. Patrice DeQuiznio, guest of past President Glenn Miller. Kevin Thiel, guest of past President Glenn Miller. Cindy Rissenberg, guest of past President Glenn Miller. Yolanda Hunter, guest of President-elect Wilda Ream Alessi. Reginald Hunter, guest of President-elect Wilda Ream Alessi. Danielle Beckenser, Bexiker, guest of Leona Regia. Hunter Conrad, guest of our speaker. Harley Legwood, guest of our speaker. And Jessica Zartman, guest of our speaker.
On behalf of our Rotary Club, I'd like to extend a heartfelt welcome to all of our visitors today. It's always a pleasure to have new faces join us, whether you're here for the first time or if you're returning. Rotary is all about connecting, serving, and making a positive impact in our community and beyond, and we're excited to have you all here with us today. Rotarians, please help me welcome all of our visitors. Now for some announcements. First, a few medical updates. I would ask that you keep Rotarian Ken Cooper in your thoughts. His wife Terry unexpectedly passed away this past Sunday after suffering a stroke. Additionally, Rotarian Tom McCracken is in the hospital following a fall from a ladder. So please also keep him in your thoughts and prayers. And a reminder that funeral services for past President Dick Julian are this Saturday at Outer Gate Church. And now on to some upcoming committee meeting announcements. The membership recruitment committee meetings will happen tomorrow at 3 p.m. at the Fig and Barrel Pub in York City. The IDEA committee will meet on February 3rd at 9 a.m. on Zoom. The Global Project Task Force for Sandapa will meet on February 3rd at 3:30 p.m. on Google Meet. The Student Education Committee will meet on February 4th at 8 a.m. on Zoom. And at this time, I would now like to bring up our Executive Director, Lynn Morrison, for an update on the monies that we are raising for the LA fires.
Thank you, President Courtney. As you are aware, the York Rotary Foundation Board of Directors voted to make a disaster relief donation in the amount of $5,000 to Rotary District 5280, their charitable foundation. They're the Rotary District in California where all the fires are happening. And this will be directed to assist those affected by the wildfires in Los Angeles County. Thank you so much to those of you who've been moved to donate, either to what we're doing or perhaps in another way to help those affected in Los Angeles County. So far, donations from our members that have come through us total $6,700. Thank you. We have a slight update from Governor Albert Hernandez, who's the Rotary District Governor in Rotary District 5280. This was from last Friday. And he says, as we navigate the third week of devastating wildfires in Los Angeles County, our community continues to endure tremendous loss and uncertainty. Heartbreakingly, many of our own Rotarians have been displaced due to the loss of their homes. Tragically, the Palisades Rotary Club has not only lost many members' homes, but also its meeting location for their Rotary. Through it all, the Rotary family has risen to the challenge with compassion and action. Together, we've raised funds that are already making a difference. We've distributed checks to trusted organizations and to support our Rotary clubs in their effort to provide shelter, distribute food, and supply critical resources. The resilience and compassion of Rotarians remind us that even in the darkest times, we are never alone. The York Board has extended the deadline for us to collect donations from many of you who want to participate for one more week until next Tuesday, February 4th. If you would like to contribute, you can do so right now. You can donate by your phone. Glenn did this, right? Even Glenn can donate with his phone. So if you want to, you can take out your phone and you want to navigate to the QR code here. You just take a picture of it with your camera on your phone, or you can go directly to our website, yorkrotary.org. Once you scan and get through to our website, you're going to see this on your screen. If you click the charitable donations link, or you're on the York Rotary website, either way, you're going to get to where you can fill in your billing information. So you choose your donation amount on the billing information page, and then under other fund, please type in LA Fire so we know where to direct your funds. And then you click finalize your donation. So it's easy peasy because it's a tax deductible donation and it will come to us quickly. We've asked you to donate by credit card primarily because that's the fastest way for us to gather the funds that we want to make available. If you prefer, you can also send or bring in a check, but we do need to get that by next Tuesday, February 4th. Thank you so much for your generosity and for thinking of others in California as they navigate this difficult time. This shows that we are truly people of action.
Thank you, Lynn. As you all know, our club rolled out a 3-year strategic plan last May. And since then, members have been hard at work to ensure their committees are in line with the club's direction. Today, I want to spend some time sharing with you an update on how the past few months have been going in terms of our strategic initiatives. Build community, our club's community and our city's community. This phase is where the very hard work of creating and embracing change has begun to take shape. Our committees were each challenged to develop an action plan for their committee for 2025 that outlines what they would be doing to align their committees and activities to work towards our strategic goals. This was hard work, and it required us to think and act in new ways and to refocus what we do as a club to meet our mission and achieve our goals. Here are a few notable new planned activities coming from these action plans. First up, creating an engaged and diverse membership. Member engagement has been planning a calendar of social and networking events with the goal of 1 per month. Next, increasing our service impact. Youth leadership has realigned the Students of the Month program to focus on highlighting students who live in the city of York. Our youth committees are evaluating their activities and working to align our focus of cultivating youth success for kids in the city of York. And this is a big change. It's hard and it's going to require reevaluating and looking at committee activities in new ways, forging partnerships and relationships with others serving the city youth. And our other youth committees are looking for ways to work together to collaborate while continuing to focus on each committee's unique focus area. Youth leadership and youth service projects held a youth summit to gather feedback from city kids on their needs. And student education is increasing their outreach to schools and organizations serving students from the city to inform them about scholarships that are available to increase these applications. PPE is planning an environmental assessment to identify broader environmental needs in the city of York that may offer new and exciting future service opportunities. Now to increasing awareness and understanding of our organization. Our communication committee plans to launch a members-only Facebook group. And then on to aligning governance and resources to support club priorities. The fundraising projects committee set an aggressive goal to raise more money through next year's September's Love for Community event, while also seeking greater participation from our membership. They're embracing the approach of more fun equals more profit equals more impact. The new York Fund Development Committee is working on plans to educate our members to donor opportunities and ways to recognize and acknowledge those who donate to our foundation. So, what's next? Well, we're just at the very beginning of the hard work and creating and embracing change. And this is when I challenge all of you to think and act in new ways to refocus what we do as a club to meet our mission and to achieve our goals. So, how are you contributing to this effort? Are you a voice on a committee that is pushing for change and for new ways of thinking? Are you bringing new ideas and sharing your community involvement and knowledge to help the Rotary Club of York best serve the community? Are you we've always done it this way type of person, or here's a new idea person? or even on a committee? Are you open to new ideas from others? Do you welcome new voices, new perspectives, and new people? And this is how you can embrace the change. I'm very proud of the work done at the committee level for the great work that we're doing together as a club. It's exciting to see us demonstrate that we are people of action. So hopefully that update gives you a little bit of insight on how things are going with our club strategic plan. And if you're ever looking to reference the plan, you can go to our club's website and you can click under our mission and you're able to view the plan at any time, right after you make that donation that Lynn just talked about. All right, so enough about the strategic plan update. At this time, I would like to invite Rotarian Jeff Mullen, who serves as the Chief of Staff to the President at York College, and will be introducing our speaker for today. Jeff.
Thank you, President Courtney. It is my sincerest pleasure to introduce to you our speaker today, Dr. Steve Jacob. He is my cherished colleague whose work at York College mirrors the mission of our club in service to others. Dr. Jacob is the director of the Center for Community Engagement, leading a team that works on improving economic and social well-being by extending York College's research and technical knowledge to the citizens of York County. He will explain how York College's overall engagement strategy and how the Center for Community Engagement contributes to his mission, to our mission. He will then introduce Hunter Conrad, Jessica Zartman, and Carly Lake Wood, who will briefly overview their programmatic outreach. Thank you for being here. Dr. Jacob is a longtime professor of sociology at York College and has been an administrator at the college over the past few years. His academic research has been focused on community development. He received his bachelor's degrees from Salisbury University and his graduate and doctoral degrees from Penn State University. Fellow Rotarians, please join me in welcoming Dr. Steve Jacob.
Jeff is absolutely the most handsome booger I know. He's such a great colleague, and I'm looking around at all the faces of people that I've known, some of you longer than I'd be willing to admit. And I'm tracking towards the end of my career, but I can tell you it has been a privilege of a lifetime to be here in York County teaching the sons and daughters of you. Sometimes quite literally. I've got to meet Andy Siebold today. His daughter Grace has been working with Provost DeCinzio for almost 2 years now. We met her in a course. One of the most high impact practices that you can have with students is to actually get them a work experience. And at the same time that I met Grace, I also met Jessica Zartman. And Provost DeCinzio said, hire them now, put them to work for the college. And they're still working for us. They have transitioned from student work to actual contractual work in Grace's case. And in Jessica's case, Jessica is now the Gladfelter Policy Institute Scholar in Residence. And she is out doing good work all over York County, not just York City, not just at the college, but everywhere. And I've had an opportunity to reflect on what we do at the Center for Community Engagement. And it definitely is a social good, and we do work on social well-being. But we're just one of many engagement strategies that York College does. And in addition, there is a command and control network that you might not be aware of, but two of the key pieces are right here with your Rotarian brethren. Vice President Glenn Miller, Vice President for Advancement, really assists, aids, enables, directs. The same with Chief of Staff Jeffrey Mullen. We meet regularly, we strategize, and we all report to President Burns. And one of the things when I took on this position about 7 months ago, that was made very clear to me is that York College serves York County, all of York County, from Hanover in the southern part of the county, all the way up to the northern part of the county. And we have extended our outreach everywhere. And I think that that's very appropriate because the highest impact practice that you can have when you work with students is to gain actual real world work experience. And that's really the secret sauce of the Center for Community Engagement and the Graham Center for Collaborative Innovation and the J.D. Brown Center And our newest piece, the Knowledge Park. Students are involved in every step of that. And it has been an honor of a lifetime to engage with these students, to see them become energized as they do real and meaningful work out in the community. They test out and develop new and real skills. And sometimes the most valuable experiences they get are discovering things that maybe they're not interested in. It's a real time and life-altering experience. I've seen it mostly with people who want to use youth development work. And they'll come back, me as an advisor, and say something like, I think I'm ready to try gerontology. And, it's happened multiple times. It's like, you can reason with elders, but sometimes children can be difficult. I want to tell you that there are community engaged champions throughout this room. So if I started naming names, I just want to say thank you. If I started saying names, we'd be here all day. Like, there are people who have been at the very beginning of the Center for Community Engagement. When I got here in 2002, it had already been rolling for a long time. I'm going to say some names. I'm going to do it. Jan Harrell, Suzanne McConkey, Jeffrey Mullen coming in about halfway through, a mentor and a colleague who understood the impact, the high impact of these experiences, Dr. David Polk, who was an incredible mentor. So many of you were there at the beginning and the founding of the very generous gift of the Lafayette Club, and how that continues to serve our community in ways that we would all be worse off if it didn't exist. And so I want to say thank you. Jeff made me do an outline. I am a professor, long-term professor. I speak in 50 minutes first. I have 20 minutes. I have a staff of 3 who I promise to have some time. So thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thanks for the reminder. And I'm used to pacing around like a cage bear. So these high impact practices really hit home for me. On December 31st, I needed some unanticipated surgery. Not the way you want, not a New Year's rocking Eve. I'm just going to tell you that. But one of the things that really sunk home for me is that almost everyone that I interacted with at the hospital as I was being prepped for surgery was a York College alum. I interacted with 6 nurses that I'm aware of, and my wife tells me 8 or 9 after sedation. But every time they were, and one of them, and sadly I did not remember, one of them had class with me, but I had 6 nursing alum taking care of me, like making a real contribution to my well-being, to the community. This institution is important, and its relationship to its other institutions throughout the community is important. And the work experiences that we have and we're able to provide our students, in the case of nursing, there were people here 25, 30 years ago thinking about how do we take these same high impact practices that we have in nursing and how do we extend it to human services? How do we extend it to art? How do we extend it throughout our curriculum everywhere? And one of the key ways that we have decided to do that is through these 4 engagement pieces that I've already alluded to. And my piece in particular is devoted to the not-for-profit and public sectors. And that does not mean that we do not do outreach to the private sector. We also do that. We do a lot of triaging as people come into the old Lafayette Club, the Center for Community Engagement. And we work with them. My colleague Hunter Conrad has worked with many, there's no other way to say it, many fledgling caterers as they come in. He helps them establish menus, websites, cards, making a real difference, and they just happen to be minority caterers in the community. And you know, when you have catered food at our facility, we have a list of caterers that we work through, we rotate through, and we have an impact that way. And if you love soul food, if you love Hispanic food, we are the right place for you to hold your meeting. Because we have a list of just knock your socks off folks. I do want to talk about our engagement strategy at York College. I am so proud of it. I'm so proud to be part of it and part of this network of leadership that makes this happen. And it definitely starts with President Burns. It filters through our VP of engagement. It filters through our chief of staff. We are engaged with our provost. And I have to recognize my colleague Kevin Field, who actually started the Cupola Defense Fund. We had a break-in and zipped it up, tied it up, and we kept functioning right through. It's an old building. We have things that happen, and Kevin is always right there supporting our mission as well. Our engagement pieces mostly deal with industry. The J.D. Brown Center is an incubator. The Knowledge Park is a technical. How would you describe it, Jeff? Give me a little hand here.
Call it for a center for more mature firms than would graduate or have.
Hatched from the incubator. Yes. And that we do have firms that have hatched from the incubator and moved into, and then we have community partners like Wellspan that have moved in and continue to have that close relationship that we've had with them in the 2 decades that I've been here. So we have the Knowledge Park. I have my colleague here who helped do the introductions, Tamara Snead. She runs the Graham Center for Collaborative Innovation, and that involves students and faculty in cross interdisciplinary outreach, primarily to industry, but she also works in the public and not-for-profit sectors as well. We go where we are needed. I like to think that our students are sort of like the shock troops that move out and help proselytize and spread the knowledge and research expertise that we've imparted here at York College. When I say it is an honor and a privilege of a lifetime, it truly is to see this in action, to see people develop competencies, to see people do career exploration. And our CCE piece, we do 3 basic things. We support nonprofits first, and we do that a couple of ways. And the first is through generous, unending support of Powder Mill Foundation, Mr. Haiti. We have opened our doors. We have gone from hosting about 25 people a week in the Grand Lafayette Club building to, there are weeks where we're well over 200 people coming through the door. We're going to have a Give Local event on Friday. There will be hundreds of people in the building. I'm very proud how we've made this space available, a classy space that is fitting of our not-for-profits and the boards that they work with, the educational facilities that we have embedded within and how they're being used. We also work directly with some countywide partners that I call meta organizations. We work with the Community Foundation, a nonprofit collaborative. And we try to be a good and conscientious partner to play our role as best we can. We also work very closely with Connect York and Healthy York. And we are doing great work with the Reentry Coalition countywide. And that's been my focus and the focus of our primary focus of the efforts for the first year or so that I'm involved there. Like, we really wanted to have an impact with countywide important agencies. The second thing that we do is we run the Gladfelter Policy Institute. It's a research institute. The scholar in residence will tell you about some of her activities. But that is connected to a Master's of Public Policy Analysis degree. And I participate in managing that along with a colleague, Nick Anspach, and a new colleague, Hank Butler, who will be involved in promoting, marketing, and finding thesis research that is hands-on, high-impact learning for master students who will be ready to go into local or county or state or even federal government roles. And the third thing that we do, and one of the things that I'm most proud of, and I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize Miss Lisa Fast, we run the Urban Collaborative, which has a deep and lasting impact on New York City. And I say deep and lasting because we have developed, working with Carly and Hunter and Jessica and all of us, everybody there and Lisa, we have made a decision to go into a behavioral change model, a social change model that takes place over multiple years, working consistently with the same audience through repeated interactions so that the change is lasting. And much of that change, Carly will describe the area of focus. But I'm just really proud of the work that the college does with our students and how we use that as a multiplier effect throughout the community. And again, I'm just so honored to be in front of you talking about these impacts and how your support, and I'm seeing so many familiar and mostly friendly faces. It's fantastic. I would like to take a moment to introduce Hunter Conrad. Hunter Conrad is a community development specialist. He also kind of works the door and he grabs people as he comes in and he does triage with them. He tries to indicate what kind of help they need. So I also want to introduce Jessica Zartman, Filter Policy Institute Scholar in Residence, and started as an undergraduate worker with Patrice DiCinzio, and as you know, I've mentioned Grace, who I'm sorry is not here today. I should have thought to have invited her. And then last, my colleague Carly Lane Wood, fellow Eastern Shore person, all around really good person, and she will describe the Urban Collaborative. Thank you. Speaking for the microphone.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Hunter. I work at the College's Center for Community Engagement, and it's an honor to be with you all today. I want to start with a fact, a problem, and a strategy. The fact is, York County has 1,389 nonprofits. The problem is that of those 1,389 nonprofits, around 50% of them are bringing in less than $50,000 a year in revenue, and around 50% of them have less than 2 staff that are carrying out their services to the York community. We're in a very unique situation in York where small nonprofits have to serve both as executive director and vice president of HR. Project managers have to work as director of marketing and CFO. And so in sum, they're spending a lot of time working in their organization without having much time to think about what it looks like to work on their organization. And we believe this is where the Center for Community Engagement can help in our nonprofit sector. 15 years ago, I believe researchers Dan and Chip Heath professed the 8 most important words in all of strategy: find what's working and do more of that. And this is exactly the strategy that the Center for Community Engagement has adopted to help York's small nonprofits and social startups excel, scale their impact, and continue to do the great work in York that they're already doing. In other words, we want to work with our smallest and mightiest organizations in the county by using evidence-based strategies to help them scale their impact and take them from where they are to where they want to go. We work with them on strategic planning, grant writing, and program evaluation. Our mission, in other words, is to help them achieve theirs. And we provided this support to numerous nonprofits and social startups in York, but the organization I want to focus on today is called GVI, or Group Violence Intervention. GVI is a strategy made in collaboration with the police, the community, and the GVI team. And in essence, what their goal is to stop gun violence in New York by creating more graduations and less funerals. Despite the fact that GVI was initially a team of 2, now a team of 4, because of their partnerships with the college and many organizations throughout the community, they've been able to bring safety and prosperity to our youth in York. They've brought a 36% reduction in overall gun violence, a 49% reduction in shots fired called, and an 80% reduction in group-related gun violence. I want us all to picture 20 classrooms of kids that walk away from a life of gang and gun violence and walk towards a safer future. This is what's possible with collaboration in York County. I've worked with the GBI program on creating a robust theory of change model, on creating pamphlets and marketing materials, on creating project plans for their new initiatives. And I've never worked with an organization that's more grassroots in its efforts, more in the weeds. I spent time in Thanksgiving working and connecting with them, with our young people, and getting them connected to job training programs as part of GBI's outreach strategy. We offer them trainings, we give them the support that they need, and we help them scale the impact that they want to make. And so where does this leave the Center for Community Engagement? GBI is just one of the organizations that we work with. Since July in the center, we've had over 1,800 people, community members, community leaders, residents, leaders of nonprofits come through our doors. And it's been our goal to help place them into strategies that are going to help them thrive. We've worked with groups like Urban Works Youth Development, which helps youth get jobs. We work with Blossom, a group supporting survivors of sexual assault with trauma-informed care. And we could say a lot of things about the impact that we're making at the center or the impact that we're collectively making as a community, but I want to focus on the people that are benefiting from this work. I want to start with Endai Dabney, York County trauma responder, who we help support in hosting a lot of her events and in helping create a theory of change model. Endai worked at GBI and now works for York City. And she says, I'm going to be honest, I didn't understand this impact that we're making. Now I know how to go from point A to point B. This is magic. This is magic. And finally, I want to leave us with the words of one of our students who worked in a community-based learning class doing the exact work that we're doing at the center. She said, what I learned is that I have a say in this, and I can bring a voice to the people in this community. Hunter Conrad, I work in the Center for Community Engagement. I appreciate your time. Thank you all for making York better, and it's really lovely to be in community with you.
Hello, Hunter, as always, wonderful job. Hate to follow you, love to work with you. But good morning, my name is Harley Legwood, and I actually began my work as the Urban Collaborative Director for the Center for Community Engagement right around when Steve started. So we've been, hard to believe that it's been 7 months since I started in this role, but I wanted to share some updates with you today with what we've been up to at the Urban Collaborative. So for those of you who don't know about us, the Urban Collaborative is a donor-supported initiative within the CCE that supports research and projects that tangibly improve the lives of people who live in New York City. And our primary focus is to support projects that increase the availability of safe and affordable housing. One of the primary methods of support that the Urban Collaborative utilizes to engage in this work is project-based learning. So we use a place-based approach to cultivate and strengthen relationships between the community partners and York College faculty and students, to leverage the college's resources and enrich the educational experiences of YCP students through meaningful projects that complement existing work that's happening in the community. And so one of the first major focuses for the Urban Collaborative has been lead. As I'm sure all of you are very well aware, lead is a major public health concern in our area. And so through generous data sharing opportunities between the Bureau of Health and the City of York and our really talented GIS students under the leadership of Dr. Jennifer Pomeroy, we were able to produce several hotspot maps that overlay age of structure data and elevated blood lead level data. And we've been able to share those outputs with the newly formed lead task force, of which I'm a new member. And we hope to expand this model county-wide and leverage this data in support of the great work that other organizations like the York County Planning Commission and WellSpan and many others are doing to address this huge problem in our area. Related to this work, we're also partnering with local organizations to develop some workforce development opportunities to address the gaps in lead abatement expertise in our local pool of workers. So we've been busy, I've been busy meeting with key partners to find funds to support training a local pool of experts who can renovate, remediate, test, abate, and do all kinds of other projects to lead contaminated properties throughout York and fill really large gaps that we currently have in our workforce right now. We hope to offer support to folks who are involved with the Reentry Coalition, which Steve mentioned, recent high school graduates, and any other local individuals who are interested in becoming certified lead specialists and helping with this. In addition to our lead focused work, we've also been excited to support a variety of other projects, including a Train the Trainers negotiation cohort, projects supporting Connect York, and coming soon, a cohort of grant writing skill building to help support local nonprofits who really need a lot of support in that area. If you have ideas about
projects that we should be thinking about, I would love to connect with you. I'm really excited to be here to talk with you. So if you have ideas and people that you want to talk to, please reach out. Thank you so much for your time and for all that you do to support York, and just thank you so much for having me here today.
Everyone. I think Steve introduced me 3 times already, but I am Jessica Zarvin, the Boulder Poly Institute graduate scholar. It's a pleasure to be here. When I came in this position at the CCE, we had planned to create a well-being dashboard that was countywide. And then we quickly discovered that the York County Planning Commission was already involved in a very similar project. And so Tony Campisi connected us with Laurel Health Advisors, who is actually carrying out this project, so that I could support them with broader research and really just actively involved in their activities, which includes interviews and focus groups. I'm sure I've seen some of you at some of those. We conducted those at the CCE. Right now, this week, we've started pilot testing on that survey, so I'm excited to say that's going really well. Understanding what constitutes well-being has evolved considerably from the days when we would look at the GDP of a nation and directly associate that with quality of life. We now understand that GDP is a very blunt instrument that does little to tell us about how people are doing on their day-to-day existence. So I researched and wrote a literature review that addresses this issue, and it includes theoretical models that are being used to understand and promote well-being among citizens. I also began looking into how major international organizations and institutions like WHO, the OECD, the UNDP, I could give you acronyms all day, define well-being and what measurable objective indicators have been successfully validated. And so I organized those into a spreadsheet that could be used for the Planning Commission to both verify the data that we collect through the survey, but also to use to try to address some of the barriers to well-being for our citizens. So that's one piece of what I do. The other is also connected to GBI, so Hunter, thank you for introducing that so well. So we're supporting a community through group violence, and if you're not familiar with how this began, the GBI model, it's now an international gun violence reduction strategy. It was originally called Operation Ceasefire that began in Boston. However, not every city or state has been nearly successful in its implementation as our office here in York has, on the direction of the current project manager, Tiff Lowe. Some of the issues are that the model is now a couple of decades old. The social landscape has really changed if you think about social media and how many people are interacting now. And our understanding of how trauma affects the brain, generational trauma, all of that has evolved substantially. And trauma-informed approach is just one piece of the formula that's helped Tiff achieve so much success. In fact, she's been so successful that the National Network of Safe Neighborhoods, who distributes the GBI model and supports offices nationally, have repeatedly reached out to her to ask what it is that she's doing and why is it working so well. And they've been connecting her with other GBI offices around the nation so that she can help them with training. They've even flown her to Arkansas to do statewide training. But she's expressed a need for organized, coherent training materials that she can share. A lot of what her office does, their doctrine, her policies, they're not really well documented. It's just kind of spoken and everyone understands that this is how you do things. So with her permission, I've made studying York City's GBI office, which is also called More Graduations, Less Funerals, MGLF, a topic for my master's thesis. Upon completion, I intend to have a comprehensive guidebook that our office in York can share that can supplement the original manual. This will include an expansion and or modification of activities, original programming that's been designed, tested, and implemented by MGLF, guiding principles, and more. It will be, as Tiff put it, a living document that can be revised as they continue to address some of the problems they're still facing, like employee burnout and vicarious trauma, which are really significant issues that organizations like this have to deal with. It's obviously very challenging work to do. Criminologist David Kennedy, who authored the original design, said, "It's very easy to start the program. The challenge is in keeping it going," which is true for so many small organizations like this. We're hoping that this project will both help other GBI offices find success and keep going, and will support the continued success of our office here in York as new generations come into leadership roles. This nonprofit is an excellent example of how the CCE can support overall community well-being, behavioral change, safer neighborhoods, and opportunities for young people to change their trajectory for themselves and for their children. all of which has reverberating effects for the entire community and the entire county. So we appreciate your support so much. Thank you for your.
It's amazing to work with energized young people, especially late in my career. It's been amazing working with your sons and daughters. And I'm looking around at all the assets that we have in this room, all the institutions that are represented here. Natalie Gunnarsson with the Community Foundation in our building almost monthly at least. Just an excellent partner. The nonprofit collaborative, the work that we're doing together is just really meaningful, and I appreciate all your support and the time that you gave us today. And if we have time for questions, you may address any question to me or any member of our team.
Probably for Hunter, in the discussions with the small nonprofits, is there any consideration of the consolidation or merger of nonprofits doing similar missions?
Yes, and that I think is what the real benefit of the Center for Community Engagement, previously the Lafayette Club as a space, has to offer. One of my favorite things about the space is, as Steve mentioned, we have weeks where we have 200 people in the building. And the cool benefit of that is oftentimes those nonprofits that might not know each other have the chance to collaborate. And so one of the caterers that Steve alluded to that I work with, her name is Liz Morales in Morales Kitchen. She's showing up for her community. She's giving food to our unsheltered population. She's giving food at church events. She's volunteering her time in a way that supports York. And so one of the programs that she's now developing called Cooking Up Community, which is getting our young people involved to learn the basics of nonviolent communication, to connect more with their parents, because there's a lot of research that says that families, when they eat together at the dinner table, they have better physical health outcomes, mental health outcomes. The need for that program came out of a need that GBI expressed, which was, how do we bridge the gap between giving support, not just for parents and not just for kids, but both at the same time. And so there are a lot of examples when, because we have so many people in our building at the same time, we're able to formulate new partnerships that might not have been there if we weren't having everyone together. Thank you.
I'm just curious how nonprofits get involved with community engagement. Like, is there some vetting process or that are just kind of evolves through right now?
So there's lots of ways that people find us. Sometimes they walk off the street right and they see the sign. It's right across from the Yorktown Hotel. It's a very visible location. We also depend on a lot of referrals and word of mouth, and the Community Foundation, Powder Mill, the Gladfelter Foundation, the Wareheim Foundation. They will support budding not-for-profits and then refer them to us for support. We also have a very large contingency of networking that just literally occurs by word of mouth. It's very frequent. Carly, would you like to add anything, or Jessica?
One of the ways that I find.
Microphone.
Oh, sorry. Some of the exciting opportunities that come up too through my role that it's kind of unique is I get to connect with the faculty members and then kind of connect out to the community. And a lot of times there's organic opportunities that come up that spring from those conversations, and just who's aware of who and who's interested in doing what in the states, and kind of how can we collaborate to make this happen and incorporate the college in. And so in my experience, a lot of it is sort of just organic word of mouth, but I do know we also have really great partnerships with a lot of local institutions that are providing support to those people, and they know who we are and we know who they are, and so they're kind of sending people our way that they think might benefit from our support.
Also, the industry piece of engagement also has a fascinating referral system, and that really will sometimes just involve industry partners just reaching out directly to faculty. And then we may refer up, or sometimes they may reach out to the J.D. Brown Center or the GCCI or the Knowledge Park. And sometimes they reach out to us and we redirect them. And then very often, we will, all four pieces of engagement will come together with the person making the inquiry to make sure that we get the right students involved, the right resources on campus involved, and that we deliver on the promise that we will benefit this entire county. Jessica, come on.
I don't know if this directly answers that, but I think it's important to note that Dr. Jacobs made it a point to make sure that the culture there is incredibly welcoming and hospitable. So in terms of word of mouth, I think that's done a lot. When you come in, you're greeted by Hunter, who is incredibly charming. You know, you are offered coffee and water and come into the fireplace room and people feel comfortable. And I've gotten that feedback actually, where they've said, I didn't always feel like I belonged here, I was comfortable. The attitude is, we are all part of a community, you are welcome, we're all in this together. And so I think that just having that upper level culture that trickles down is really critical in how we do things. And I think that's made a big difference in terms of people feeling like they could reach out to us.
Very fascinating information for, especially for someone who's new to the area. I know that one of the biggest problems that small nonprofits have is a lack of expertise in the multiple areas an executive director is supposed to be the best at. So do you all offer some kind of a shared services, ongoing shared services program for HR or finance, things that founders have passion, but not necessarily expertise in those areas?
Natalie, come on up.
That's a great question. The question was that some nonprofits, smaller nonprofits, or even nonprofits in general, might benefit from a shared services model. And the Center for Community Engagement and other nonprofits and other local funders, the York County Nonprofit Collaborative, that's one of our intentions moving forward, is to explore the opportunities for our nonprofits to have shared services when they're experiencing tight budgets, perhaps staffing issues or staffing retention issues, and how can we become more efficient and effective with those shared services models. This is your show, Steve, not
I do want to say that the college absolutely has a role to play in this, and it may not necessarily be in the delivery of services, but we have technical expertise in curriculum development and delivery and train the trainer models, and we are working in conjunction with the vision of Natalie to make this happen, to bring it about with all the other partners through the not-for-profit ecosystem in York County. So it's underway, and I think it's going to have a powerful impact.
My question has to do with the observations of the staff and the four parts of the community engagement organization. As you're talking with these many people coming through the doors, are you able, and have you discovered areas in the community that need to be addressed and that haven't been addressed, and perhaps be able to direct people toward them?
So one of the things that we become embedded with is reentry. And it is an absolute social good to have people transition from prison back into the community. And we are working on some educational components, career redevelopment. We do a lot of, I don't want to sound like we're delivering those services. We do a lot of the technical aspects of the program evaluation, the curriculum development, and some of the reporting that takes place with that. I would like to invite my colleagues to come up as well and address the question.
Lead. Lead is a huge issue. It comes up over and over again. It comes up in multiple conversations. It's a public health crisis. I mentioned it in my piece, but it's something that is very important to, I know, a lot of members of this community. And it just shows its head in a lot of different ways, and it's something that we're really invested in exploring how we can support the efforts that are happening from so many local organizations to address it. So it's just, I want to reiterate it again. It's an important issue that we've heard come up a lot. So thank you for asking.
Thank you to everyone from York College who spoke today on how the Center for Community Engagement is improving our community's well-being. Your work inspires all of us to think about new ways to collaborate and to support these efforts. Rotarians, let's give all of our York College speakers another round of applause. As you all know, instead of giving the speaker a gift, we purchase a book and we ask them to sign the booklet and we donate it locally. This week's book will be donated to YWCA York's Early Learning Center in York City, along with a bookmark made by the students at Creative York. Next week, we will be back at the Country Club, and our speaker will be Rotarian Brian Grimm. Brian is the president of United Way of York County, and he will share some exciting updates about the United Way of York County, including their re-energized program initiatives in childcare, transportation, and financial wellness. In addition, he'll share upcoming opportunities to get involved with the York County community this year, 2025. This meeting is now adjourned. See y'all next week.